Thank the chairman, and I want to talk about a dozen subjects, but I think I'll stick to three in the time I have. I have no doubt, and we've already been hearing much hue and cry about the Department of Justice probe of AP records, but I think we should put this in context and remember that less than a year ago, this committee's Republican leadership demanded aggressive investigation of press leaks, accusing the administration itself of orchestrating those leaks. Then, members of this committee wanted reporters subpoenaed, put in front of grand juries, and potentially jailed for contempt. Now, of course, it is convenient to attack the Attorney General for being too aggressive, or the Justice Department for being too aggressive. But this inconsistency on the part of my Republican colleagues should not distract us from legitimate questions worthy of congressional oversight, including whether the Espionage Act has been inappropriately used in looking at leakers, whether there is a need for a greater press shield, which I believe there is, such as measures some of my colleagues have worked to defeat in the past, and Congress' broad grants of surveillance authority and immunity that some of my Republican colleagues supported and before today have been unwilling to re-examine. Those are questions we need to pursue, and I hope that today's rhetoric translates into meaningful bipartisan support for looking into those questions. Now, to switch topics, this was brought up already, but this committee has engaged in a relentless, unfounded, and grossly unfair attack on the leadership and integrity of Assistant Attorney General Tom Perez. They have questioned his management of the Civil Rights Division and his efforts to get the city of St. Paul to withdraw its appeal in a case challenging the use of disparate impact theory to enforce civil rights law. I'd like to give you, sir, an opportunity to address two questions. First, can you comment on Assistant Attorney General Perez's track record briefly, because I have others, as manager of the Civil Rights Division?
I think he's been an outstanding head of the Civil Rights Division. I think you look at the giants of the department in that regard. You think of John Doerr. I think that he's served about 50 years or so ago. I think 50 years from now, people will look back on Tom Perez's time as Assistant Attorney General of the Civil Rights Division and compare him to somebody like John Doerr.
Thank you. Second, my colleagues allege that Assistant Attorney General Perez brokered a dubious bargain, in quotes, and inappropriate quid pro quo with the city of St. Paul, whereby he convinced the city to withdraw its appeal in Magna versus Gallagher, and the Department of Justice Civil Division agreed not to intervene in a False Claims Act case against the city. The minority's conclusion, after more than 18 months investigating this, is that Assistant Attorney General Perez did nothing wrong, and in fact appropriately carried out his duties as a steward of the Civil Rights Division, that in fact the facts showed that it was senior career officials in the Civil Division who overruled junior career officials in the Civil Division and ruled that and believed that that particular False Claims Act case was a very bad case, a weak case, and that the department should not join it, although they did not prevent the complainant from continuing, and that there was nothing inappropriate in making a decision not to take the Magna case to the Supreme Court because bad facts make hard law, the other way around, I forget. In your view, is there anything inappropriate done with regard to this matter?
No, I don't think so. I mean, I think the city reached out, consideration was given to the action that was taken before Mr. Perez moved forward with what he did. He consulted with the ethical people, the legal and ethical people and professional responsibility people within the Civil Rights Division to make sure that the course of action he was proposing was ethically sound. It seems to me that what was done was in the best interest of the people of the United States.
Thank you. Let me ask, with respect to Guantanamo, Congress has placed several restrictions on the administration with regard to the transfer of potential trial of the detainees still being held in Guantanamo. What steps, if any, can the President take on his own, assuming that Congress remains obdurate, to ensure that we either bring these individuals to justice through trial or find a way to transfer or repatriate them? I just take it as axiomatic that it is wrong and unworthy of the United States to simply grab individuals whom we may believe to be terrorists, never try them, and never release them. It's wrong to hold people indefinitely for life without any charges. And in fact, especially since 66 of them have been declared by our own government to pose no risk. So what can we do to avoid, since 86 of them, I'm sorry, what can we do to avoid the situation where, without any claim of right at all, the United States indefinitely holds 166 people in jail with no due process, no trial, military or otherwise, and no release?
Well, I think that Congress has unwisely put in place impediments to what the President wants to do and what I have said I think is the wise thing to do, which is to close Guantanamo. There are steps that the administration can do and that we will do in an attempt to close that facility. There's a substantial number of people who can, for instance, be moved back to Yemen. The President put a hold on that given the situation that we had in Yemen at the time, and I think that is something that we have to review. I think we have to revitalize our efforts at getting a representative to go to different countries in the way that Mr. Dan Freed, who was an employee of the State Department, I think did a very effective job, finding alternative placements for people where their home countries will not accept them. I had the responsibility when I came into office of looking at the population at Guantanamo and making determinations as to who could be released, who needed to be tried, and who needed to be held under the laws of war. The task force that I set up, I think, did a great job in that regard. There have been subsequent actions by Congress that I think have made it difficult, but not impossible, for us to move people out of Guantanamo, and I think the President has indicated that we will be taking renewed action in that regard.
Time of the gentleman has
Thank you.
expired.